Hello. Hi. My name's Hannah. I'm here to chat goals, reading goals, booktube goals, and I have been putting a lot of thought into the main things I want from my reading and from this channel in 2025. That has not necessarily translated into me having put a lot of thought into this video's actual content in terms of what and how I'm going to say it. I also haven't properly gone back and looked at every single goal or intention, I think that's the word I used last year, that I made for my reading. But I have a very good reason for that, which is that I read a book in December by Lena Norms that has, I think, revolutionized my approach to my life, but also specifically my reading and this channel. Now, I have a full-time job that is nothing to do with reading books, and I love my job. I want it to be my full-time job. I don't want this channel to become my job. And that's not how I've been behaving. So the book in question is called Half-Arse Human. It is a self-help book written by Lena Norms, who does professionally create content on YouTube. And it's great because it's basically about why and how we can stop that feeling of thinking that if we do something, we have to 100% commit to doing that thing, when in reality, half-arsing it, absolutely fine. Now, we all have things in our life that we don't want to half-arse, things that we're incredibly passionate about. And it's not that I'm not passionate about books and reading, or even this channel. It's just last year, and those of you who are not brand new here will have probably picked up on this vibe, I stretched myself far too thin in terms of what I was reading, how much I was reading, and it totally burnt me out. And it got to a point where I was not wanting to create content, not because I don't enjoy it, because I do, but because I'd created in my head, like, because the algorithm, right, wants you to upload regularly to a regular schedule. I was like, well, I have to do a video a week. Even when my life is really busy, I have to try and do a video a week. And because most of my content is about actually reading books. I don't do tons of like recommendations or like bookish news or TBRs, because I don't set TBRs. We're going to talk about TBRs in a minute though, because I don't do any of that stuff. Most of my content is about what I'm reading, so I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to read a lot of stuff and therefore have content to put out on this channel, when actually, like, whoever wants to join this space and subscribe and hang out with me, that's lovely. That's so nice. But I don't need it to be thousands of you. I really don't. Like, I was just reflecting on a lot of what Lena was talking about in the book and thinking, what do I want out of this channel? I want a fun little hobby. I want a way to help me think a little bit more about what I'm reading, because I definitely, before I had this channel, would be kind of like finish a book and on to the next without necessarily really thinking about it. And I do find doing reading vlogs and wrap-ups of my reading helps my own reading experience. It helps me have a better time because I'm really thinking about what I think about the books, and that makes the whole reading experience for me much richer. A bit like how people would, it's the same as people who really enjoy writing reviews of the books that they've read, because it helps them kind of like crystallize their thoughts. I like video format, frankly, because it's way more informal. So that's really all I actually need this channel to be. So the main difference you might find on my channel going forward is I'm probably not going to be uploading really regularly. And I know that means my content isn't going to get in front of as many people, but I don't need it to. What a weight off my shoulders. Marvelous. Like, if I haven't really read anything good, I won't make a video. If I'm busy or I'm enjoying doing a different hobby, I don't have to think, oh, well, I've got to read, like, maybe I could do audiobooks, or maybe I could come up with a... This was really crystallized for me. In October, I went to Japan with my partner. It was like a once in a lifetime holiday. We were so excited. And it was sandwiched between two really busy times in my like professional life for work, right? And yet I stretched myself so thin to make sure I had pre-recorded videos to go out every Thursday. What day did I used to upload videos on? Whatever, a day. That I made myself a bit ill. And you just, you think like, I think like the people, and you'll know who you are, who like always engage with my content and are really lovely in the comments and stuff, because like I know a lot of people passively consume YouTube, and that's totally fine. You don't have to say hi to me in the comments. That's okay. But I was like, oh, they probably wouldn't have given a shit if I didn't put a video up. Like, why do we go and put ourselves under so much unnecessary pressure? Like, I think the algorithm is something that professional content creators probably do have to worry about. I'm not a professional content creator. I don't have to worry about that. So Half-Arse Human is dictating my vibe on this channel. I was going to say for the year, but actually I think going forward, but this is officially going to be my year of Half-Arse Booktube. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've already like massively taken my foot off the gas with what I'm reading, and I haven't been worried about, oh, are people going to be, if I read this book, are enough people on the internet going to be interested in this book that if I put a video up about it, they'll like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Why is she worried about it? It don't fucking matter. So Half-Arse Booktube, that's where we're going to be. And I mentioned the like Japan thing. That was a big contributing factor. The fact that I was like literally packing to go on holiday and recording some of those like videos. And I couldn't tell you what I said in any of the videos that I uploaded in like October. It's like a fever dream. I don't even remember what I said. I don't even remember what the videos were. And you think, I didn't have to do that, did I? I really didn't have to do that. So the main thing this year is we're gonna half-arse it because we can, because it's a hobby. Like, great. But I do have some plans for my reading. The first thing though is that I am not setting any specific goals. Last year I set some kind of like vibey intentions, but looking back earlier this year, and like as I've been reflecting on 2024, I had far too many things that I was trying to like ram in, like too many specific things. Because I had like 3 words that I wanted for my reading. The first was impatient, and I really did enjoy doing, but I did a few impatient reading vlogs at the start of the year, and then decided that because I'd done that, I had to do that every month. This is the thing that I want to get out. I don't want to create goals for myself or say something now that is something that I have to do throughout the year. I want this year to be incredibly fluid. That being said, in January, at the start of the year, these are the things that I'm wanting to do a little bit more of in my reading. The first thing, read less. I read again 150-ish books last year, and that's cool and that's great, but I don't want to read that many. But I'm not going to be as dramatic as Raylene was this year with like wanting to do like under 50 books. That's Raylene from Books Unbound. I'm sure you're familiar. I don't want to be that extreme, but I don't want to be reading loads and loads. And that's partly because one of the things I want from my reading this year, and I've actually organised my TBR a little bit like this. And by TBR, I just mean like the physical books that I own that are unread. Most of the books on 3.5 shelves of this bookcase are unread. I want to tackle my big boys. This is the year of chunky boys. I have a number of books I don't know if, yeah, these guys too. There's another thick stack there. I'm not going to read all of these this year. I'm not even going to tell you which ones I'm going to read first. But 2 of my top 3 books of this year were over 500 pages. I read the whole of Hilary Mantel's Thomas Cromwell trilogy in the back end of last year. Loved it. Bring Up the Bodies, which is the second one, was my favourite book of the year, but I really loved the entire trilogy. And it really hammered home to me how much I really enjoy getting lost in a big book over a significant amount of time. And I haven't read that many of them because big books can't create that much content. But I like them. I like them. I should read them because I like them. So I definitely want to be tackling a big guy every couple of months, you know? I'm not going to say I need to read all of these ones, because actually there's big books that I want to tackle on audio. There's big books that I want to tackle, like digital ones that I know I can get from my library and things like that. But I want to really get stuck in to the big boy books this year. I also really want to read more classics this year, and I do find that classics tend to take me a bit longer to get through. And again, I've shied away a little bit from doing much reading of classics, even though I know I really like them. And there's some classic authors that I absolutely love, and who I know have loads of other titles that I haven't tackled yet, and yet I haven't been picking them up. So there's some things that I want to read. A couple of things that I think probably will leach into content. I want to focus my book buying this year on indie publishers, small presses preferably. I have signed up to Weatherglass, do like a book subscription where they send you one of their novella series every quarter, I think it is, so that you get like 4 books a year. And it's been so lovely dealing with them, because it's like an actual person who runs the publishing house, who emails you directly, and they handwrite stuff for you. And I've got 2 of their titles. The reason I discovered them is because the novella competition that they do is judged by Ali Smith, who, FYI, is one of my favourite authors, probably my favourite author. So I do want to do maybe some deep dives into some indie publishers on here. So talk to you a lot more about, you know, those books, yes, but also like what else they publish. And you can tell me, I would love for you to tell me your favorite independent publishers. It would help me enormously if they were independent publishers in the UK, just because I don't have an exhaustive budget here, and probably importing books not great. But yeah, let me know your favorite indie presses, because I really do want to get so much better at sort of lifting my head up over the parapet a bit of like big books that are being discussed, that are getting a huge amount of marketing behind them. Now I know like my favorite books this year were all books that at their time of release have huge amounts of marketing behind them. So like, I'm not going to stop reading books from big publishing houses, obviously, but I want to make a real concerted effort to hunt out those indies and find the ones that I really love. And if I'm spending money on new books, I really would like to do more direct sales directly from indie publishers, because I just think that feels like something I want to do. So I'm not promising what the content will be. I'm not promising how many there'll be or how regularly they'll be, because that defeats the point of me half-arsing it. But that's something I want from my reading this year. I also thought this would be fun. I want to create space on this channel for not book stuff. Like, it will mostly always be books, right? But I've done at least one video that like included quite a bit of like knitting. I might do some bits and pieces like that, because I've been really enjoying getting back into knitting. And I found myself when I was knitting, and I was like knitting away like blissfully, like making a jumper or whatever, being like, oh, should I be reading a book right now? Because, you know, I need to create that content. And like, it's so dumb, isn't it? It's so dumb. So more of that. But one thing I do want to do, and again, not saying this is going to be a monthly thing, but I love cooking. I'm also vegan. I've been vegan for years, a number of years, many numbers of years. Been vegetarian, I think, for about 10 years, and then vegan, I think, for like 7 or 6. And I've got like some good recipes that like are fail-safe ones, but I love a cookbook. And there are more cookbooks coming onto the market. But here's my beef with a vegan cookbook, is that I think a lot of the time they are full of ingredients that are really hard to get to. They're not very accessible. Sometimes it's just like really odd recipes that I'm like, I'm not sure I want to eat this food. And sometimes there are books that aren't even vegan cookbooks that have better vegan recipes in than some vegan specific cookbooks or vegetarian cookbooks that I've read. So I thought it might be fun to do some kind of content over the course of the year with more cooking, maybe where I get books out from my library and give you my honest opinion of like how many of the recipes I think I would make. I'll actually make some of the recipes for you and we can kind of dissect some stuff. And basically I'll tell you if I think it's worth getting the book based on, because cookbooks are expensive, right? And I have definitely been suckered into buying books online where you kind of can't see how many recipes there are. I've got a lot of like books that have a lot of like South and Southeast Asian recipes in. Great, because I love those cuisines. But actually, I make very little from them because it's very hard for me to get the ingredients that I actually need for them. So like, not the most useful cookbook for me. Not the most useful cookbook. So I'm thinking there's going to be some cooking on the channel at some point over the year. Does that sound fun? Do you know what? I don't care if you think it sounds fun. I think it sounds fun. So I'm going to do it and you can join me if you want. Beyond that, there's like little bits and pieces, like I really would like to read more translated fiction. I noticed when I was doing my wrap up of the year with like all the stats and stuff, which will be linked down below probably, I really noticed that I didn't read any books from like Northern Ireland. Last year I didn't read any books from Wales. This year I did read a Welsh book, maybe 2, but didn't read anything from Northern Ireland. I'm usually good with Scottish. There's a lot of Scottish authors that I know and love. I think partly because where I live geographically, very close to Scotland, and also I spend a lot of time in Scotland. So Scottish authors I'm good with. I want to get better at like reading Welsh and Northern Irish writers. But like I said, I'm not doing specific goals. I'm not doing specific numbers. It's just something that I want to keep an eye on. And, you know, it would be nice if I could maybe go on holiday to Wales. That would be nice. I wonder if we could fit that in. But yeah, I think there's things I want to do. Like, I want a lot of my weekends are spent reading, which is lovely when I want to read. But sometimes I do that because I've created this internal pressure that no one's put on me, right? I'm not blaming you guys. It's imaginary. I've made it up. But I'll not go and do other things that I want to do because I'll stay in and read because I feel like I should be reading. And I want to really keep an eye on that this year so that I'm reading when I want to read and not when I think I should be reading. So that's kind of the year, really. No, we're definitely not doing a Euros challenge again. That was... I think I just didn't have very much fun reading many of those books. And I think because I was doing it in such a condensed amount of time, that was why I wasn't buying books, and I was very reliant on books that I could get out from the library or that I could get through like my Scribd subscription, Everand. God, I haven't called it Scribd in ages. Through my Everand subscription. But because of the time, I just had to use those. Now, if I just want to be a bit more intentional about reading from a wider variety of countries or reading books in translation, if I'm not doing a specific challenge that is tied to a specific event, I can really take my time researching books that I genuinely think I will like and finding cool publishers that publish the sorts of books from other countries that I might really want to read. Like, you know, we're gonna half-arse it, guys. This is the year of Half-Arse Booktube. I think you should join me. I think it will just be nice and fun for us all to like just fucking chill out a bit, and accept that we don't have to be 100. We don't have to be giving 100% to everything we do. That's like many, many more percents than any of us have. And you know, we've got to take care of ourselves, guys, haven't we? So that's it. And because of that, I don't know when I'm next going to see you. I'll see you for a video, but the nice thing will be is that you will know that that is a video that I wanted to make. I'm gonna not promise any content. I sometimes do that, like at the end of the video. I'm recording this now a little bit because I said at the end of my last video that next week's video would be about my goals, and then I felt like I had to do it. So I've kind of already failed at my goal at the first hurdle, but never mind. It's all right. That's fine. I'm not gonna promise you what's coming next. I'm just gonna see you when I see you, and I will be thrilled and happy to see you whenever that is. And in the meantime, I hope you're having a really lovely time reading or doing whatever it is that you feel like doing, and that you're giving yourself some time to just be a little potato and not fucking worry. You should all read Half-Arse Human by Lena Norms. It's really quite magical stuff. See you later.